You ask for anything, you deserve it. And like, we fucking it up.
Yeah, wait now.
Someone said, okay, oh shit, the live stream is broken.
What?
Yeah.
What? Why does this keep happening?
I don't know. All right. Do you see it?
It still says offline on mine.
Oh,
wait a second. Yeah, no, it's up.
Okay.
It's live.
All right.
Hashtag break the internet.
Talking about parents. I mean,
Hey guys.
hey.
Sorry for the technical difficulties.
I also like, when it comes to money, oh, money is great, and you need...
I love money.
I fucking love money, but...
And I can say that.
Sure.
I'm not ashamed.
But if you're in a creative career, you need to, like, be okay with the idea that it's going to be a very long time until you consistently make money. The good news is that once you do start making money, you can make a good amount of money if you're good at what you do and it's what you love. That's the sacrifice that you make.
Yeah, I mean, especially in your industry.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like what Andrea and I do. We're way more out in the Wild West, and there are no guarantees.
Nope.
For you, it's like at least you're kind of still working within these corporate frameworks that you are working your way up.
Yeah, there's a path. There's like a pathway that if you do a good job and follow it, there's jobs for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
keep working at it.
Keep working at it. Give your parents specifics and manage your expectations about how they will respond. Like, you just, for your happiness and their happiness, don't expect such a compassionate response from them, because clearly that's not like where they're coming from or how they're wired.
Yeah. And don't worry about your brother making more money than you. It just means that you can ask him for money if you ever need it.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. Trust me. I know. It's a good thing. Okay. And if you would like to ask us for advice, write to hotmesscomedyhour@gmail.com.
Please do.
And we will read it on air. I would love to get more advice questions.
Me too.
I want to read a DM that I got.
Yes, please.
And then we'll do our hot mess moment of the week. So this is an extension of when we ask people to send us their traveling for dick stories after Florida Gate. And if you don't know what Florida Gate is, you're also not a true fan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pulling it up. Okay. So this is different than the others we got because well, actually, you know what? I'm not going to spoil it. Let me read it. Okay, so first she sent some kind words. She said, "Hey, I love the podcast and have found the honesty you and Andrea speak about your lives so helpful.
Oh, thank you.
Neither of you are afraid to be vulnerable, which I think only amplifies your strengths, and I'm sure is why you resonate so strongly with other young women. Thank you. It's also because they're drunk and they think we're crazy."
It's like mostly that.
It's 90% that. But 10% what you said, so thank you.
That's beautiful.
I'm messaging as you asked for stories about traveling for dick, so I'm ready to share mine. A few years ago, I got a job teaching in a small city in China. I forgot.
Here we are again.
We meet again, China. I forgot that it was China. I went to Shanghai for a weekend.
Did you love it?
Was it the best? Was it super fun?
Did you love it so much that if anyone says anything about China, you get fucking upset? Because I have an opinion about it. Whatever.
I went to Shanghai for a weekend trip with a Chinese girl I had met in the city and an older German expat. This sounds like a porn.
Menage a trois.
Who offered to pay for the trip. Ooh, zaddy.
Oh, scary.
An odd situation, but I went with it as it sounded fun. That's my entire 20s.
Yeah, you're getting child trafficked, dude.
To cut a long story short, I met and hooked up with a guy on this trip. The next day, he flew back to Hong Kong where he lived. So I quit my job in the school, which I didn't like very much, and moved to Hong Kong. Wild.
This is wild.
You were living your life out loud.
You relocated and quit a job for Dick.
So I quit my job. Oh, sorry, I just read that. 2 years later, we are still together.
Wow.
And very happy.
Wow.
I realize this story makes me sound like a crazy woman, but sometimes impulsiveness works out for the best.
That is wild.
So wild, and I mean, I will say you are definitely the exception.
Oh, yeah.
Not the rule, because all the other traveling for Dick stories I've received have been tragic.
Yeah, really tragic. You moved to a different city in China? Wow. Wow. To feel that way about anybody.
That you would move to China.
Because we...
Or anywhere.
Hate China.
Really anywhere, but mostly to China. Anyway!
Would you
Congrats, girl! Would I move to China for true love?
Yeah, is there anyone in your life, have you ever liked anyone, excluding me, enough to move to China for them?
Excluding you.
Excluding me.
Oh, so we're not just talking guys, we're talking people.
Yeah.
No, but if they asked me to. Like, am I moving there just to be closer to them?
No, like, they're like, let's be together.
And move to China.
Yeah.
Let's use a different country as an example.
Yeah. Why?
Australia.
Okay.
Yeah, I dated one person that I would have considered it.
Is it the big person, the big X?
Yeah, he was physically big and big in my heart. I would have considered it, but like that wasn't the situation.
I know. Isn't that crazy when you like think about the ex that like fucked you up the most or the one who you were most in love with, and you're like, you had me by the fucking balls.
Yeah.
Like it's nuts.
Yeah. By the balls on a leash.
Yeah. I was your
collar around the balls.
Bitch.
And a chain. And you're just yanking them. You're just yanking the balls all the way down the street.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I have one ex where it's like, I would have done anything to stay with this person / and they were like, nah, whatevs.
Yeah, but that's important to realize and have compassion for yourself because you can look back and say like, oh, I acted kind of not the smartest, but in the headspace that you're in when you're feeling those feelings, it's like that person is kind of a drug.
Yeah.
So, what are you supposed to do?
That's love.
Also, people, and then you think about people who take big risks for love, and it works out. So,
yeah,
it's all a crapshoot. It really is.
Don't move to China, though.
Don't do what this girl did. But good, congrats.
That's fucking crazy.
I'm happy that you're happy.
That to move to another continent and then be like, fuck this job.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Well, she said she didn't really like the job, though.
Totally, but like.
See, that's why,
you need a work visa to live in other countries. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like at #immigrant brain with this one. I'm like, how are you not going to get kicked out?
Yeah, maybe it's easier to live there than it is to live here.
Oh, well.
It's particularly hard to live here, right?
I mean, I'm like a Canadian immigrant, so I don't live the traditional immigrant.
Right, but even so, it was.
Oh,
you had trials and tribs.
Oh, it's just to live here legally, the amount of hoops and paperwork and shit you have to go through is pretty extensive. But I think it's worthwhile, and, what am I going to do? It's their rules. But it was also odd to me how difficult they made it for, like, a Canadian. Because I'm like, what am I fucking doing?
We're the nicest.
We're literally your neighbor country. We're attached. We're on the same continent.
Yeah, but you're like the neighbors that, like, we don't really like to talk to. Like, you're like the neighbors that we kind of, like, pretend aren't there.
Oh, yeah?
We all have neighbors like that. That's what Canada is to the U.S.
Yeah, you wish. I was jealous of Canada now.
Well, now they are. Mm-hmm. But I'm telling you, when I was growing up, and this is, I was thinking about this the other day, actually. Mm-hmm. It is crazy to think back how brainwashed I was. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if this happens. This probably happens to a degree everywhere. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know that, like, in North Korea, like, they have this song that's like, we have nothing to live for, like, like if Kim Jong-il is not.
Are you talking about American patriotism?
Ethnocentrism.
Yeah.
Like, I was raised and I was brought up in school to truly think that this is the best country on the planet, and that I was so lucky to grow up here. And I am very lucky to grow up here. There are plenty of places that I could have grown up and situations economically that would have been awful. Mm-hmm. So I acknowledge my privilege and everything, but it's not even that. It's like I was raised to think I was so lucky to be here, specifically. Mm-hmm. And, like, that everybody else didn't have as much freedom as we had, like, that this was the land of opportunity, and that anywhere else they were living, like, a lesser life.
Hilarious.
And it's not even, like, I didn't even think that in a mean-spirited way. I was just like, oh yeah, like, the United States is the best country on the planet. Everybody knows that. It's a fact.
Meanwhile, like, Canadians and, like, New Zealanders and people from
in
France
Europe
are just like, okay.
Yeah, and, like, there's so much history and culture that we don't have. Like, I didn't even like conceptualize the fact that our history only goes back to, like, a few hundred years. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I didn't appreciate the things that other cultures have, because we're told this story that's like, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You have it here. You don't have it anywhere else. Mm-hmm. Nowhere else. Only America. And it's crazy. Like, people probably still think that.
Of course they do.
Yeah.
I'll say
America.
Well, I'll say a few things about America. It is the reason why people are attracted to it, myself included. It is the place where it is one of the most capitalist countries on the planet. So it allows for the potential of autonomy in that you can create your own business and make a great deal of money because there's not a whole lot of restrictions. And the attitude is, like, very much about personal gain. Mm-hmm. Whereas in other countries, it is much more about collective happiness. Like, Canada is much more socialist, so you pay higher taxes. Canadians can be loaded, and there are plenty of those, but the general attitude is more of a happy group of, like, we care for our citizens, and that's very, like, rose-colored glasses, because every place is different and there's fucked up things. But America, the self-centeredness of the American vision is attractive if you want to live a big life. In no other
Uh-huh.
place can you go from being like the quote unquote bottom of the ring, whatever, like come in as like an immigrant who works their ass off and then climb to such high levels.
To such a degree.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, that is true. I mean, there are certain professions that you make way more money here than other places. Like doctors can make millions of dollars here, whereas in other countries they don't.
Right. But
that doesn't make us better.
No, and
it just makes us richer.
Sure.
And poorer.
Yeah, but there's a cost to that type of thinking and living, and I think that we're understanding that now. Like, we're talking about boomers before. It's like, there will always be a counter effect.
Yeah.
To, you can't have everything. I think there's this attitude of like...
I mean, unless you're us. You can't have it all, you know?
You, as a society, you can't be so consumerist and self-centered without other people paying for it somewhere.
Yeah.
So...
We've been getting very economics heavy on this episode.
Sure.
Anybody who thinks that this is not educational, you're fucking wrong. Sam Turner says, my dad has "We the People" and guns that say "freedom" tattooed on him.
Yeah.
Wow. Where are you from, Sam? Can you remind me?
This sounds like some Virginia shit. Well, I feel
like she said she's from Washington State or something.
But the thing is, this dream is still very present in Americans' minds, but yet, like, America is struggling so hard, but yet there's still this, like, what Sam's talking about with the guns, and it's like, there's still this, like, we're the greatest, and it's like, what? Based on? You all, another thing about America, and why it's still one of the top dogs as a country, arguably still the top, is because of the military-industrial complex. Like, the American military...
Professor Allen!
Hey, man. The American military is so powerful that, like, for that reason alone, no other country will take on America. Like, no one's taking on America because you have nukes that will fucking destroy entire...
Yeah, it's pretty terrifying when you think about it.
Oh, yeah.
One shot.
Well, you guys are raised with this idea, too, that you're, like, the good guy. There's, like, this sort of, like, America's a good country and, like, hero thing that you have going on.
We need to go... Yeah, what's that? The white man's burden?
Yeah.
Is that, like, we need to go out and, like, fix everybody else and make sure that they're up to par.
Yeah, and we're, like, spreading democracy.
Democracy, yeah. It's, like...
But it's... You're the... You know, and... the way I think about it is, like,
Operation Iraqi Freedom. Like, fucking...
Well, you think, like, to make a Star Wars reference, you think that you're on, like, the Luke Skywalker side, but you're actually Darth Vader. You just don't know it.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, the things that America has done is pretty fucking abysmal. But no one's gonna stop them.
God bless. Sam says, also 7 pictures of John Wayne. Your dad sounds like he parties.
Yeah.
I can't decide if I love him or if I'm afraid of him. But that's all men, to be honest. Yeah. I think we should go into our hot mess moments of the week.
Sure.
What was your hot mess moment of the week?
Okay, this is from last week, but this was particularly,
Andrea Allen has so much integrity. She could have easily lied and said that it was this week, but she told you guys it's from last week. You can never doubt a single thing she says.
To be honest, I rarely lie, which is rough, because when you tell people the truth, sometimes they don't want to hear it.
They turn on you.
This was something I pulled off last week that was hot mess, but also, yeah. So there's a show, New York Comedy Club, called Witch Hunt, and it is a very cool show. You should go if you're in New York. It's booked by a female comedian, and the theme of it is like these comics on this lineup would have been burned at the stake had they lived during the time that.
It's very funny.
Yeah. And so it's always cool. It's almost always exclusively women, and usually there's like one man who's woke and funny. So it's a super cool show. The booker and I have been going back and forth, I think probably for a year and a half,